2-minute warning. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Good morning. Today we have to have a very candid and open, important conversation with you. This virus is spreading exponentially. Without a comprehensive national strategy, we, the states, must take action. Today I'm issuing a stay home, stay safe executive order for all Michiganders, and it goes into effect just after midnight tonight.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
You've said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world, and maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
What, sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll
you
go over
pointed
here.
to me. I have two questions, Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young
to,
lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague
Okay.
finish. But can I ask you a
Ladies
question,
and gentlemen,
please?
thank you very much. Appreciate
But
it.
you called
Thank you
me.
very much.
We've all seen the pictures online of people who seem to think they're invincible. Well, you're not.
My dear French citizens, it is with much concern, but it is also with a very clear mind that I am here to say that we have taken action and we will take action, but for the time being we are only at the beginning of this epidemic.
I know this is hard. I know this is going to be disruptive, and it's certainly going to be hard on our economy as well. We will all have to make significant sacrifices. This is the time we must come together as Michiganders. When we look back at this, we've got to be able to say we did everything we could. On a personal note, I know that the lack of control can be disorienting. So I urge you to focus on what you can control.
Here we go, guys. Here's some more.
aware of the gravity of the COVID-19 crisis around the world and right here in Nevada. I have taken what I believe were the necessary steps to try to mitigate this pandemic and keep our community safe, including closing our K-12 schools and recommending that we follow social distancing guidelines. Today it is clear additional steps must be taken immediately in order to slow the spread of this deadly virus.
First, I don't want to see any chaos in groceries to get some alcohol if we close the SAQ. Second, I think some people, unfortunately, they need to have some alcohol, so I don't want to bring those people in the healthcare network. And I think that also for to reduce the stress, you have to do some exercise, so have a walk, but sometimes a glass of wine may help.
Beyond Thursday, the 30th of April, we should begin a gradual and phased recovery of economic activity. We are calling on all South Africans to wear a face mask whenever you leave home. Thank you.
The antidote to fear is knowledge and preparedness. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to prepare, not panic. We're going to choose collaboration over chaos.
Fucking choking me! He's choking me! What the fuck?
Oh, for a mask? For not having a mask? Look how pathetic you are! She doesn't have a mask!
The protest over masks was held outside of Fort Lauderdale High School this morning before the school bell rang. One of the students has refused to come to school wearing a mask.
And this afternoon, her father is in jail following an incident this morning. CBS 4's Keith Jones is live outside Fort Lauderdale High School with those details. Keith?
Yeah, we just got the police report and learned the father's name. His name is Dan. For the past 4 school days, has walked his daughter Isabel right up to the gates here at Fort Lauderdale High School, only to be denied. That happened again today, but except this morning, things went a little sideways. In the midst of a steady stream of kids filing into Fort Lauderdale High School on what appears to be a usual Monday morning, quickly turns unusual. A student appears to grab a man's phone, but he's arrested after snatching it back from that student. For the past 4 school days, this father, who would only identify himself as Dan, walks his daughter Isabel into school only to be denied because she won't wear a mask. This is him before the arrest.
First of all, it's illegal for them to mandate it. It's against the law, against the Parents' Bill of Rights.
Isabel is a sophomore at Fort Lauderdale High. She admittedly is an anti-masker and thinks face covering should be optional.
I want to be able to go to school like everyone does, but I can't wear a mask. I can't breathe in it.
An out-of-town city councilman refusing to observe the rules when it comes to COVID safety, and police in Detroit weren't having it. Good to have you with us at 6. That councilman from Warren was told he'd have to leave the TCF Center if he refused to put on a mask.
Eddie Kabasinski, who's had his share of run-ins with the law over the past year or so, told Detroit police he wouldn't mask up and wouldn't leave, so they put him in handcuffs.
Good evening, Kimberly. That man is a Wayne County commissioner, and he recorded the entire thing on his cell phone. All of this was over wearing a mask.
Well, I was leaving the TCF Center and saw a commotion as I was exiting, and it was a guy standing there arguing with the police about whether or not he would tell him he wasn't refusing to wear a mask, basically. What was the purpose of him saying that he was a city council member?
Commissioner Kinlock identifies that councilman as Warren City Council member Eddie Kabasinski. In the video, Kabasinski refuses to wear his mask inside the TCF Center.
Did you need a mask?
I'm not wearing a mask.
Kabasinski was recently arrested for handcuffing a woman during a Trump rally and arrested again for selling items without a permit, also at another Trump rally. And now, this arrest.
Get your hands off of me.
The Ohio woman who was tased at a middle school football game after refusing to wear a mask. She was arrested and charged with trespassing after refusing to leave the stands where masks were required. TJ Holmes is here with more on this. Good morning, TJ.
Cecilia, I feel like I need to start by telling viewers, yes, you heard Cecilia correctly.
This confrontation between a woman and a police officer all started over a mask.
Stop it! Let's go to my red!
At a middle school football game in Ohio Wednesday, a woman in the stands refused to put on a face covering. When confronted by a school resource police officer, police say she refused to put on a mask, and when asked to leave, she wouldn't comply. Watch what happens next. The officer explains that she's being arrested. When she continues to resist, he uses his taser.
New at 4 o'clock, a Harnett County man who showed up for jury duty ended up behind bars. He was put there by a judge for not wearing a mask in the courtroom.
Lena, there are no signs requiring a mask inside the Harnett County Courthouse. In fact, you can go into every single one of the courtrooms but one and not wear a mask. But there is one Superior Court judge who does require a mask inside of his courtroom, and a local veteran stood up to him this week, and he landed in jail. 47-year-old Gregory Hahn walked up these steps into the Harnett County Courthouse Monday.
There were no signs saying that masks are required. Everyone walked in.
He was with 98 others ready for day one of juror orientation.
You can go into any district courtroom without a mask. You can come into the Clerk of Superior Court's office without a mask. You can go to the district attorney's office without a mask.
But you can't enter Judge Charles Gilchrist's Superior Courtroom without one on, which no juror was made aware of ahead of time. It wasn't listed on the summons that Hahn received.
And I just said, I'm not going to wear a mask.
The juror who was refusing to wear the mask just to send him upstairs.
He said, I understand that you don't want to wear a mask. And I was like, that's correct, sir. And he says, mask, why?
Hahn stated there is no mask mandate in the courthouse, in the county, or in the state. It's only in Gilchrist's courtroom.
Let me ask you again. Are you refusing to wear a mask in my courtroom? And I said, yes, I am. He said 24 hours in the Harnett County Jail.
Within minutes, Hahn was handcuffed, his mugshot taken, and in contempt of court, jailed under no bond.
What the irony of this whole thing is that the judge was talking to me without a mask on.
The dispute started here at this Value Mart in Minden, Ontario.
They're a little bit scared and really shaken up because of what happened.
An elderly employee was sanitizing the shopping carts and offering masks to shoppers when the 73-year-old customer allegedly refused a mask, then assaulted the worker. He then fled in his vehicle, causing damage in the parking lot.
Police attempted to stop that vehicle, the suspect vehicle, and had to discontinue in the interest of public safety.
It ended about half an hour away outside what's believed to be the man's home. Ontario's Special Investigations Unit says 2 officers opened fire.
And ultimately, a 73-year-old male was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
Tensions flared at Woolworths Chullora around 7 o'clock this morning when 3 women became involved in a toilet paper tussle.
Showed up today and it's just chaos. There's a huge line to get toilet paper.
What's the hardest thing to find right now?
I mean, you got everybody and their brother going and buying all the toilet paper. Yes. It's pretty bad. My 62-year-old dad had to come to my house yesterday and get 10 rolls of it because can't buy it at the store.
I can see your future. Don't be nothing but a hound dog. Get on over here.
Right now, a lot of the marquees are still lit up. It looks like the flashy Las Vegas we know and love, but it doesn't feel like it. There's an unspoken eeriness knowing what's about to happen over the next 12 hours and then for the next 30 days.
Today, Governor Sisolak announced a new statewide task force to help mitigate the impacts of COVID-19.
It's on us as Nevadans to tackle this, and that requires some out-of-the-box and proactive approaches. We will need to rely on both government and business to see us through this crisis in the best way possible.
yesterday, some of the casino, the slot machines, they would have like one on and then two would be off and then one on. And I imagine, or I know that's to create the separation between guests. And today it's just all of them are off everywhere you go. You kind of see like the computer error. So yeah, it's insane.
There's significantly less people in cars out here tonight. And again, that is the goal. As we heard Governor Sisolak say, this is the only way to mitigate the spread of COVID-19.
Free fries when you get vaccinated. I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this, these delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this. Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This can be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling.
This for incentive to get your vaccine. Get your shot today and you can get free dances from a local strip club.
Larry Flint's Hustler Club is among the sites offering COVID-19 vaccinations this weekend.
You know, you guys, after 7 years of college and 25 years in the broadcast industry, I finally landed on the story I was born to tell. Today, you can tell your loved one, hey, honey, I'm going to the strip club, and she might not divorce you. And here's why. From 4 to 7, you can come here and get your COVID shot and then all kinds of other perks. So here I am. I'm right outside Larry Flint's Hustler Club. Yes, the boss has told me to stay 500 feet away from the doors, which is just fine.
It's frustrating that after 2 years, the battle against COVID-19 is still dominating so many parts of our lives.
Must be Canadian week. 2 Canadians in a row. Salute, my friend.
Where's the other one? Oh, yeah.
Jordan Peterson.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan was on yesterday. Your country's in revolt. Do you know about this? Show this video. It's a giant convoy of trucks that's apparently some insane amount of people, like 50,000 trucks, that are headed to Ottawa to protest the vaccine mandates by Trudeau.
And they're all coming from Canada because
They're
not
all
allowed to
in
come
Canada. They're all in Canada. It's all Canadian truckers. Because apparently they're all being mandated that they have to get vaccinated, and they're like, hey, we don't even contact anybody. We're in our truck.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
We just drive.
The current state of Canada, the current dismal state under
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the tyranny he unleashed during the COVID pandemic, why so many patriotic Canadians are fed up, and the unprecedented punishment that's been unleashed upon those who, like Tamara, were daring enough to criticize their own leaders.
Criminal!
We will continue to work with people at the provinces.
Know what you're up to.
Piece of shit! Cockroach! Order! Piece of shit! Go to hell, you piece of shit! Fucking cockroach!
Dirty cockroach! Dirty cockroach! There he is, dirty cockroach. He's right in there. Look at him, dirty cockroach. Dirty cockroach.
Do you know how long you've held up people picking up bags? I've been waiting in line down the road for 30 minutes while you've been here soaking up the race.
Thank you.
You know?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
You're not getting my vote. This is a free country.
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm not shaking your hand, bro. You're a fucking piece of shit, man.
Why is that, sir?
You fucked up the entire country.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you and your globalist counterparts. You're scumbags. You're an absolute scumbag.
Arrest this piece of Arrest him! You're a criminal!
It's not my challenge. I'm a volunteer trying to help someone save their home.
Sir, we've been filling sandbags as well.
You're a criminal!
Yeah,
okay,
and you know why you're here?
Yes,
while
I'm
you're here, nobody
sorry.
can pick up.
I am here
while
to
you're
encourage-
here, no one can pick
I
up
don't know
sand.
that, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, why
sir.
don't you make yourself aware?
Justin! Fuck you! You're a piece of criminal! You're a f***ing criminal! You need to be arrested!
How do you like your fan club now, you fucking goof?
Fuck you, Trudeau! Fuck you, Trudeau! Fuck Trudeau! Fuck Trudeau! Fuck Trudeau!
You can take my jab up your ass!
I know you're wondering about what you saw in our capital city this weekend. As my friend Irwin Kotler said on Saturday, freedom of expression, assembly, and association are cornerstones of democracy, but Nazi symbolism, racist imagery, and desecration of war memorials are not. It is an insult to memory and truth.
And it's not just a few malcontents or a couple flags. This so-called convoy actually seeded the ground, in my opinion, for the worst display of Nazi and racist propaganda that I have ever seen in this country.
The Prime Minister dressed up in racist costumes so many times he can't remember them all.
The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has apologised after a picture of him in brownface surfaced.
Moments ago, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau publicly apologizing for a series of racist photos and a video showing him wearing dark face makeup. That video shows Trudeau in the early 90s.
This is something that I deeply, deeply regret.
Now, Trudeau, of course, is part of the Liberal Party.
Darkening your face, regardless of the context or the circumstances, is always unacceptable.
This one you see here, taken in 2001. This is from a yearbook at the school where Trudeau was teaching at the time. He was dressed as Aladdin at an Arabian Nights themed party at that private school where he was a teacher. The other that has surfaced, a high school yearbook photo.
I never should have done it because of the racist history of blackface,
which shows Trudeau portraying African-American civil rights activist and actor Harry Belafonte in a school play.
It was blackface, and that is just not right. I should have understood that then, and I never should have done it.
Today,
Sadie Stevenson broke the story about the latest images of Trudeau in blackface.
We know that it is Justin Trudeau. Beyond that, the Liberals have not had much to say about why he was wearing that racist makeup in those images. They've explained the other images were theatrical, that one was a play, that one was a themed party, but they have refused to elaborate on what he was doing, why he was in full blackface from head to toe.
I never talked about this. Quite frankly, I was embarrassed.
I started to read what he said. This is a couple of weeks ago. He was, or maybe this is September, but he was talking about people who are not vaccinated. He said they don't believe in science. They're often misogynistic, often racist. No, they're not.
That was not out of him at all.
Right. He said, but they take up space. And with that, we have to make a choice in terms of a leader as a country. Do we tolerate these people?
Canada's communist. Canada's crazy. They're fucked. They're fucked. They got to get rid of that guy.
How much time does he have? I feel like he's been prime minister for a while. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't know how their system works up there. I have zero understanding of their system.
No respect for the people. This country right now is like a raw nerve, and the Prime Minister is jumping up and down on it again and again with his inflammatory rhetoric. We're talking about people who've got 14-year-old kids that are suicidal after 2 years of lockdowns. I just spoke to a waitress whose business was wiped out by lockdowns. I'm talking to truckers who've been serving food on our plates throughout this, and these are the very people, honest, hardworking, shirt off your back type of people that this Prime Minister keeps attacking.
I want to ask you about maybe your thought process during that event there yesterday. They were about 20 feet away.
We're deeply sorry, folks. Unfortunately, for safety reasons, this event will no longer be taking place here today. Thank you all so much for your support, for everything.
We had a lovely event planned tonight. Unfortunately, tonight we had to cancel.
You kind of pointed at them, you waved to them, you touched your heart to them. What was your thought process during that? And then they were cursing you out.
Yes, there were a lot of angry anti-vaxxers there. But there were also mingled in among them some supporters.
Unfortunately, for safety reasons, this event will no longer be taking place here today. Everything you're doing.
Who were feeling perhaps beset. That particular moment where I turned to look at a group of young women, specifically racialized women, who were waving at me. And when I smiled and said thank you for being there, and yes, greeted them, and they cheered and said thank you, I was talking to them. And it is something that we have to reflect on, that even in Canada, where yes, there are angry mobs who are threatening violence and hurling racist epithets, there are people coming out to stand beside them.
This Prime Minister has met with far worse individuals than I have ever met with.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, all members are honourable members. The member just said that the Prime Minister has met with worse people than she has. I'd like her to name them.
The Honourable Member for Haldeman Norfolk. From the top.
The Prime Minister has put on blackface so many times. He has degraded black people. He literally put a banana in his pants, and you have the audacity to stand and look at me as a black woman and ask about my meeting with another member of the European Parliament. That is within my job description. I do not have to approve of everything that another member believes in order to have the decency to have meetings with other individuals. Your Prime Minister, this Prime Minister, denigrated black men by putting a banana in his pants. Shame on every member over there that does not chastise them. If this were any other country, he would not be leading. He would not have that moral authority.
leave.
Trudeau, you're messing with the wrong people. The 10% is after you.
Afternoon, protesters, truckers, farmers, tradesmen, Albertans, and all Canadians. We want to start off by thanking everybody for the support we have received in the last week. From anonymous donations, food, fuel, and other essential items, we are overwhelmed by all the support. The RCMP continues to blockade Highway 4 at Milk River, which has created logistical struggles for us to get essential services to the truckers at Coutts. We call on the RCMP to allow unrestricted flow of traffic to support the peaceful protests at Coutts. Over the last 2 years, Canadians have watched as the civil liberties of all have been systematically eroded. We watched as our seniors were isolated and our kids were masked. We watched as our working class was abused and coerced into experimental vaccinations for the sake of public safety. While using emergency powers, our provincial and federal governments, with the assistance of health departments, have systematically taken away our rights and freedoms. We, the people, call on Jason Kenney and Justin Trudeau to immediately stop and retract all provincial and federal mandates and emergency health measures.
This morning...
Hey, guys. Hey, we have respect for journalists in this country. They ask tough questions and they're supposed to, okay?
RCMP says it has launched a review after a Rebel News commentator was arrested while trying to question Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland.
How come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-Nazis? What? What are you doing?
You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault. You're under arrest for assault.
Police, you're under arrest for assault. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me.
You pushed into me.
I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here and you just bumped into me. So excuse
Police, you're under arrest.
So Canada has descended to an extremely dark place, and there are a lot of threads to the story. We're going to Canada very soon to see it for ourselves. But before we go, we thought we would speak to Gord McGill, who knows a lot about this. He is a Canadian and a trucker. Gord McGill, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Carlson.
The average American knows nothing about what's going on in Canada, but it's a little bit shocking, I think, to most Americans to see how authoritarian Canada has become. Truly a place where you can't ask a question, you'll be arrested for assault. Are you shocked?
That particular incident with Mr. Menzies, I mean, I want to say it's shocking, but at this point, you know, I'm not really surprised that they did this to Mr. Menzies.
Sir, if you stop shouting, you could stay. Will you stop shouting, sir? Then you won't be disturbing everyone here. Guess not. Okay. Have a lovely evening, sir. Thank you for coming out in this exercise in democracy. It's not pretty, but it's the best system we have. Democracy's pretty good.
So people who are paying close attention learned a lot from that clip. First, here is a guy, Justin Trudeau, who will say literally anything. He will say the opposite of what is true with a smile on his face. His heart rate won't rise a bit. He's a sociopath.
Part of that, the other part of... come on! Really? Yes, we're going to ask the police to remove you. Yes, we're asking the police to remove you both. Time to go. Please remove her.
Here's also a person who has no regard, in fact, contempt for democracy.
Winston Churchill pointed out that democracy is messy.
So, in fact, he's not a democratic leader. He's an authoritarian. And that became very clear shortly after that was shot. At least 4 Canadian truckers went to jail. Now, what did they go to jail for? What did they do exactly?
All right, the date is February 14th, 2022, Valentine's Day. My name is Corporal Andrew Olfert. I'm with the RCMP K Division Serious Crimes Branch. I'm here today in Coaldale Detachment, and I'm going to be speaking to a gentleman named Tony Olenek.
Hello, everyone.
I trust that Tony's had some time to rest since his late night arrest.
Just kind of wanted to say, you know, a little about myself.
A investigation into an armed group of individuals at the Coots border blockade or protest. Again, I'm speaking to a gentleman named Tony or Anthony Olenek. He's been arrested.
We're just like you guys. Like, we're ordinary, average Canadians.
He has already been arrested for possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose.
So, I have no siblings. I have my mom. She lives in a town called Claresholm. She's a retired nurse.
Mischief for over $5,000.
And I live in the country.
Obstruction of critical infrastructure.
And I got 2 nice pups. Mom's taking care of them right now.
And what is going to change is that he is momentarily he's going to be arrested as well for conspiracy to commit murder.
I have a nice pet cat, indoor cat named Lucy. She's a sweetheart. I play guitar in a band, so my fingers are getting a little soft now.
Some context about this video that we've begun to view so far. Before Anthony Olenek is brought into this interview room, this police officer who's wearing a mask covering his face and mouth is stating that he's been double vaccinated.
I do not believe I have COVID. I've been double vaccinated.
And that he previously had COVID-19.
Having said that, I've actually also contracted COVID.
He then says he will sanitize the room.
Another thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to sanitize the room.
And proceeds to start spraying the table down with something.
Let me sanitize this room.
And wiping it down with some sort of paper towel.
Lysol wipes the rescue. Just pick up where I left off. As I said, I'm going to sanitize this room.
So it's like a time warp. Into viewing the worst excesses of these performative theatrical behaviors. That so many people engaged in compliance with or fealty to the sacred cows. Even worse, given the fact that he's wearing this mask over his face and mouth, when he's testifying, you can't understand. It's very difficult to understand what he's saying. It's very hard to discern his speech.
I will, you can see it right now, I'm wearing a mask.
And the Honolulu Police Department provided an update on its newest tool, a robot dog. Spot, the $150,000 robot purchased earlier this year, is used to screen individuals at homeless sites.
So, like I said, my name is Kyle, police officer with the RCMP. Just to let you know, everything's audio and video recorded, but you know that, I'm sure, as you're in police custody. Do you mind if I take this off? Yeah, okay, cool, man. Thanks.
He tells the officer that he has not eaten in about a day and a half.
Can I say something? I'd just like to say, I haven't eaten for over a day.
Yeah. And is not feeling so well. He's feeling a bit lightheaded.
Let's get you to the bathroom then, man. Let's give you a chance to do that, and I'm going to get some food rolling here.
Yeah, because I'm getting dizzy.
And the officer asks him if he'd like some McDonald's. Anthony Olenek says no. The officer asks if he'd like something like a salad, and Anthony Olenek says yes, he would. Some sort of salad with chicken. He wants some sort of protein. Olenek says that he unmade a lot of things that he described as bad habits, and now does not consume sugar, does not consume gluten, does not consume GMO foods, and does not consume caffeine. So it gives you insight into a man that has some degree, at least, of health consciousness in terms of the way he proceeds forward.
On COVID, we've seen an effort from a few other countries to include a push for living a healthier lifestyle as part of its pandemic response. There's been studies indicating efforts like weight loss can help prevent some of the more serious effects of COVID-19. Why isn't the president included a push for healthier lifestyles in his COVID messaging, in addition to pushing Americans to get vaccinated.
Metro Police noticing a new potentially dangerous trend. Electric mobility scooters. Those are the four-wheeled scooters, or three-wheeled scooters really, that people with certain disabilities use to get around, and that's fine, but now Metro Police are seeing an uptick in these from people that are just renting them to get around the strip without having to walk. They say this can create potential dangers since the sidewalks get so crowded.
In speaking with some of the companies that rent this type of equipment out, is that they've seen a change in the clientele that's renting them. A much younger crowd. More, they believe, are being used more for convenience than anything else. And of course, for us, it presents a problem because we are so congested.
Coming up at 11, why Metro Police say these scooters can also cause problems for officers trying to stop crime.
Well, a viral video shows scooters being ridden down an escalator on the Las Vegas Strip with one person almost tumbling down. Thanks for joining us live at 5 on TV, Android TV, or wherever you're streaming us right now. I'm Trisha Keene.
And I'm Ty Quinones, 13 Action News reporter Jeremy Chen right now is live. And Jeremy, you spoke with a tourism blogger who says that a crackdown really needs to happen before someone gets hurt.
Absolutely, Todd and Trisha, and that whole scene happened right behind me over here near these escalators on the corner of Harmon and Las Vegas Boulevard here on the Strip. And of course, that blogger telling me he wants to see action taken before someone gets hurt.
Uh-oh, here she goes. You gotta go.
A frightening scene on the Strip Sunday night. This video shows a person attempting to go down an escalator on a scooter and nearly tumbling down.
I looked at it and said, okay, here we go. You know, more craziness in the town.
Now, we did notice on that particular corner that the elevators could be used were out of order. We did actually reach out to the Harmon retail corner, the representatives over there, to see if they had any comment. However, we did not hear back by airtime. And coming up at 6, we'll tell you more about what Metro Police is doing regarding this issue. Jeremy Chen, 13 Action News.
Well, first, we rely on the advice and guidance of our public health officials.
And I mean, no disrespect in asking this, but we've obviously done hundreds of programs during the course of COVID-19, and I don't think we've ever had a guest who kept their mask on during the interview.
So let me explain. So I'm a doctor. COVID is airborne. That means that COVID remains in the air even after you've left the room.
Gotcha. Okay.
On how to best protect yourself from hospitalization and death from COVID.
As of today, there have been 38,160 cases of COVID-19 in Oregon, with 390 new cases being reported today. Sadly, we are also reporting 3 deaths today.
And we know that the most effective steps anyone can take are to get vaccinated.
The fact is vaccines work. We know they work. They've been proven to work over and over again.
Get boosted, wear a mask, and those are the steps that we're certainly focusing on.
It's the fault of those who refuse to do their part. So when it comes to this idea of mandatory vaccinations, it is a serious conversation that needs to be had, and it's not about politics.
Right-wing, anti-mask, anti-vax ideology, which has been your calling card throughout the pandemic.
The only people that are making this about politics are people who are trying to ride the wave of a small minority of a single-digit number of people who want to be absolutely antisocial.
When you say something like normal is a far-right language of anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers.
Who believe it is their God-given right to put the health and safety of others at risk just so they can avoid a silly little needle. Oh boy, oh pumpkin, I feel so bad for you people.
There's an irony here given that this entire COVID-19 apparatus, this enterprise, this machinery is marketed as some sort of health apparatus, when here you've got a defendant that clearly at least takes some of these things quite seriously in a real sense, as opposed to this synthetic, fake, political sense.
And we'll get you some food coming. So yeah, like chicken salad.
Yeah,
I should
gassing out.
I should almost do a salad too or something. Do you think there's like, is there any basis, anything for why you'd be here? Like, why you like? You seem, honestly, like talking to you, like such a, and I don't mean to like You don't seem like a dangerous person.
No.
By any means, right?
No.
Like,
I'm fighting for freedom. So
I'd be happy to have you living in a house, like being neighbors. Like honestly, it would.
I'm glad. I mean, all I want to do is try to be the best person I can be, and for love, and for this whole thing. I'm not going to stand on my knees though if the Chinese invade.
I'm not here.
Mr. Speaker, last weekend Canadians watched as Beijing's spy balloon drifted over North America.
Sitting in my driveway here in Billings, Montana, and right now there is a ground stop on our airport, and this thing is up in the sky.
The government has supported research with China's military despite the advice of CSIS.
I have no idea what it is. It's been there stationary for about the last 35 minutes. For those of you who might think this thing is the moon, there's the thing. And whoa, there's the moon.
On this Friday night, China's suspected spy in the sky. What's been lurking over Canadian and American airspace?
We know that it's a surveillance balloon.
That's where I want to go shoulder to shoulder with you, and let's go.
Yeah, I'll fight that with you.
We better be, because if we don't, we're done. And then everything's lost.
No one knows how many people have died in the crackdown. We may never know. At least 300 have died. The figure may be as high as 3,000 or more. Many were civilians who went into the street unarmed to challenge the military and were mowed down by machine gun fire or run over by tanks.
It was noontime today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace, which as it happened was already occupied. He walked to the middle and stood there. The man was alone.
We all know that police officers who do these sorts of interviews or interrogations, whatever term you want to use, are trained to, in some cases, endear themselves to the interview subject. However, that is not at all my assessment of what took place in the majority of this interview. I saw a police officer that was genuinely and sincerely surprised by the man that was in front of him.
And I'm trying to figure out why you're here too, right? They assured me they're solid. They're like, no, like this guy, we got the right guys here. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't make sense to me yet, but anyways.
And I saw a police officer that sounded very much like many people that I've spoken to in my life, a sort of generic, low information person. However, he did acknowledge that certain things that he observed were surprising and shocking even to him. The restrictions on people's abilities to visit their ailing relatives.
I need to look beyond myself here, right? And it has been great for me. There's been personal sacrifices as well, and things that just, can't see, family members who are ill.
Yeah.
Can't see.
How sad was
like,
that? How many
like,
people lost their grandparents that they couldn't go visit in old folks' home?
Little nephew, man, born and I can't go see him. Like it's bullshit.
Yeah, that
man.
gets
Like,
me emotional. Like that's sad. What a lot of people suffered with all this.
It is, man.
And it's something that I don't even see. Like I didn't see China showing all these first people dropping with some, dropping dead on the street.
Destruction of critical infrastructure, that's a new thing by China born. I'm like, yeah, I get that too, right? I get it.
Yep.
The ones that I
I know.
I'm like, what the is...
I didn't threaten anybody. I don't understand that. They see my my drive and my, what's the word, passion about it.
There has to be something more, and where are they getting this from? That, like, conspiracy to commit murder, man.
But that's where they're spinning it. They're spinning it to make it all like this. We're all passionate. We're all excited. Since the government's really pushing to get the police to break up these peaceful rallies,
yeah,
they are going to go, you guys aren't doing it because you don't see no one breaking the law.
So one of the major themes of this interview is that, again, there's this progressively surprised police officer who's having a hard time reconciling the man in front of him from what he's expected to observe, given that he knows Olenek is being accused of conspiring to murder police officers.
That's the part of the thing that I have to sacrifice because they've thrown me under the bus and done whatever, and they can't see my God-given right to, you know, speak the truth and try to do
dumb.
this.
That's dumb.
Then
I'm not saying
take
you're
it for
dumb,
the
but
team.
that's
I don't
dumb.
give a shit because
that's bullshit.
The bigger picture is I'm looking after the man upstairs, and I'm going to keep continuing walking that path.
Mm-hmm.
And they can do whatever they want. This shows the rest of the people, wait a minute, boy, they lied. We'll see what happens. God be with me.